So does having better recording equipment make your recordings sound better? I mean, you could assume that it does. We're going to find out for sure today, right now. If you're like me, you want nice things. You want a nice car, and nice guitars. I have a bunch of guitars over here. I probably have way too many guitars. And most of them are pretty nice. All the ones in here are at least the nice ones. And you want good microphones. You want nice recording equipment. But here's the question. Does spending more on your equipment make what you're doing, as far as audio is concerned, sound better? Okay, so we got a comparison here. Not perfect, but a pretty direct comparison. There's two drum tracks here. One is the very first one I ever did at the newer studio that I do basic tracks at. The other one is the last session I ever had at my house where I recorded drums. It's the same drummer, same drum set. The snare is different. That's the only thing that's different. They're different songs too, but I mean, it's the same guy. So the other studio, the bigger one, it's going to have better preamps, better microphones, a larger live room. It was designed by a professional recording studio designer. Mine was designed by someone in the 1920s who built my house, and then I built a studio in there to the best of my ability because the rooms are weird sizes and it's not made to be a studio. It sounds the way it sounds. Again, most experience in one room, least experience in the other. Let's listen to these, talk about what we're hearing. Alright, so this drums one definitely has some less ambience, but it's a more tight sound. This one definitely has more ambience. You can tell that it's a bigger room. Whatever I did when I mic'd the snare, it just sounds weird. Snare just sounds weird on that one. It's probably something I did. This one sounds pretty cool. I think this one sounds good. Obviously, this drums one is going to be the one at my house. Drums 2 is going to be the one from the other studio, so you can definitely hear the room is bigger in this one. The kick sounds nice. I really like the way the kick sounds. This one's more kind of like fat. Overall, this is a more focused drum sound. This one just sounds bigger. Let's assume, just to make it easy, that this whole environment, if you were to make or buy or rent that, it's going to cost 10 times more than this other one did. It doesn't sound 10 times better. Like, there is a jump in quality. Like, it definitely has qualities that are better or more high-end. Especially in the microphone and the preamps. Like, that kind of sound, you can really hear the tonal quality has been raised. But as far as a good drum sound, I think the first one is a better overall drum sound, even though it sounds a little more, it's warmer. There's less like hyped up high end, but there's like way less body on this other one, you know? You got that. Obviously, since they're both raw, both of them require some processing, but if I had to pick, I'd rather start with this one. Spending a bunch of money on something doesn't mean it's going to sound better. If you are a guitar player and you are not super great and you're playing a $4,000 guitar, it's not going to sound as good as someone who's good at guitar who's playing a $400 guitar. In my opinion, you want to try to scale the equipment in your studio to match your level as an engineer. Like, you don't need to start your first home studio with $4,000 Genelecs and a crazy Apollo interface. Get a Focusrite interface and some Kali Audio or some KRK monitors. Start figuring out how this works. It's really complicated. There's a lot of things going on. Your first car shouldn't be a Mercedes. You should probably have like an old Cavalier or some Honda or something. If you're a new driver, you're gonna hit something eventually, and you don't want to wreck a brand new car. So you might have seen these highlighted tracks over here. I have this other track. It's from the same larger studio, but it's a different drummer. It's a different genre, like, so it's not a direct comparison, but you can hear the quality difference between this and the other two. Now that I've learned that room better, I know how things work in there more, I'm more familiar with the equipment. I've gotten a better drum sound out of there, so let's check that out. That versus the home studio. This one versus the same studio, but my first time there. Like, between these two, you can just hear that the mic placement was just kind of sloppy. I didn't know where to put the room mics. It's been a while since I was in a big studio like that at that point. You can kind of tell that it's the same room if you really listen to the ambience. That sounds way better. Of these three, of all of them, I'm picking this one. This is the one I want to work on. There's the proof. You know, this one cost way more as far as the equipment and everything goes. Drums 1 did not. Drums 2 cost more. It's a diminishing return when you start getting into those kind of microphones. Like, now they're definitely great. And if you're a great engineer, you can use them to the best of your ability. You're going to get a great sound every time. But if you are inexperienced with those things, it doesn't really make sense to go jump out and spend a whole bunch of money on this stuff when you could just get some things that are cheaper. I think it's easier to take something that's less quality and get the most out of it and make it sound as good as you possibly can while learning at the same time than it is to get something that's really great, but your drum room's not great. So it's just going to pick up how not great the drum room is. Or if you have some cheaper things, you can like really hone in and like laser focus what you need to do to get it to sound great in there. And then you're learning techniques that you can apply later on down the road when you are in a great space. So that's kind of it. Do you really need to upgrade your equipment? Depending on your level, you might be able to actually get some use out of it. Not everyone's like this, but I know some people want to skip the part where you actually practice and try to hone your craft and just throw money at a thing and hope that it gets better. And that's probably not you, because you're watching this video. But hey, thanks for actually watching the entire video up to the end. Hopefully you learned something in the middle of all this madness. And I'll see you on the next one.